This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be featuring new music from Blur's The Magic Whip.
And Alabama Shake's Sound and Color.
Hello everybody and welcome to Music Worth Buying. My name is Robert Kinsler and I'm a music writer and a musician.
And my name is TJR and I'm a musician and a music writer.
You certainly are.
Thank you.
And this week I'm going to kick things off this time around, and I'm going to be talking about Blur's The Magic Whip. Now Blur is, for audiences here in North America and the United States specifically, is not as well known as they are in England and actually Mexico, Australia, all throughout Europe. Throughout the world, Blur is like a huge band. They're not as well known here in America. They're pretty much known for one song, which is song number 2. But the band is great. Along with Oasis, they were considered kind of the proponents and leaders of the Britpop movement in the 1990s. And Blur is back for the first time in more than a decade from kind of a hiatus, at least from the recording studio, with The Magic Whip. And as we shoot this episode, we're in late May of 2015. This is flat out my favorite album of 2015 so far.
All right.
And maybe not much of a surprise, since Damon Albarn, the lead singer of Blur's album last year, Everyday Robots, was my favorite album of
I remember you talking about that album, yeah.
And but this is an amazing album. The band actually was touring. They were in the Far East, and I guess a festival date was canceled, so they went into the studio, and my understanding is they basically recorded this album in 5 days.
5 days.
Which is unbelievable, considering the breadth and kind of the variety of music and just the strength of the songwriting. So why don't we do this? Well, let's listen to a little bit of one of the songs off The Magic Whip, and then we'll talk about it, and I'll get your reaction.
Let's see what happens, yeah. Cool.
What do you got? Mass produced in somewhere hot. You'll have to go on the underground to get things done here. And then you are.
Okay, first listen for me. And you know, like a lot of people, I was like, okay, I've heard of Blur. I don't know if I know what songs you're talking about. You know, and when you said song number 2, I was like, I don't know if I know that title.
Yeah.
So we did listen to it. I do know the song. I do remember it. Yeah, that was like their one big hit here in the U.S.
Yeah, well, and they had other songs that you would hear like regionally here. You'd hear it on some of the alternative rock stations, and you'd hear them on National Public Radio and stuff. But yeah, that's the only song that basically you heard everywhere. But my understanding is, and I have seen the band in Ireland, is over there, very well known. People know many of their songs dating back to the early 90s. And they're much more of a household name, you know, than they are here.
Gotcha.
You know.
Well, first listen. Hey, I like this a lot. I love the whole chunky, jangly guitar riff that the song opens with. In fact, let me back up a little further. I love how the song starts off with this almost like jazz guitar lick, and I almost think I'm going to hear something jazz sounding, and then suddenly it transforms into this big, chunky, heavy, you know, jangly guitar sound. And also, and I don't know how much what the audience will get to listen to. We'll only get to play 30 seconds. We listen to quite a bit more. I love that section there in the middle where it becomes, the best way I can describe it, it reminds me of the Rolling Stones when they were trying to be psychedelic. When they were trying to be psychedelic like the Beatles were being psychedelic. They weren't as pristine sounding the way the Beatles did it. They were much rougher sounding being psychedelic. And that little midsection where it gets a little quieter and gets a little spacier, it reminded me a little bit of that period of the Rolling Stones to a certain extent. But overall, yeah, from what I've heard, haven't even heard the whole song, but we listened to a good portion of it. This was a good,
good introduction.
Yeah, good introduction.
And this song, by the way, we haven't even said the title, is Lonesome Street, the first song off The Magic Whip. And this song is what I would describe as kind of more characteristic of the Blur sound. Other songs, and especially the one that we'll be hearing a little bit of the next cut that everybody hears from, very different from Blur. From what we've heard in the past. This itself is very different from song number 2, but there have been other Blur songs in the past that sounded a little, you know, where this wouldn't shock you to hear this song and say, wow, that's Blur.
Let me ask you now, the rest of the album, is it, because you said the next song is going to be very atypical, but the rest of the album, would you say yeah, this is what we expect from Blur?
I'd
Or do you
say
think
there's 2 or maybe 2, 3, 4 songs that there are ones that you go, yeah, that's in the ballpark that you're used to hearing. But there's ones that are very different. And also, I don't know if because they did the initial recording in Hong Kong, I don't know if maybe some things that they observed there or maybe experienced there had to play in it. But it's almost like this is a bridge between what they've done in the past and some of the kind of more eclectic and modernistic things that Damon has done. But what you have here in addition to his lyrics and things like that is you also have Graham, the guitar player. He's a very unique and almost like Johnny in Radiohead. He uses rather than just play flat out, you know, like lead solos. He tends to use noises and effects and stuff and makes things interesting. But they fit within the context and the arc of the songs too.
I definitely heard that during that, like I said, that portion I called more psychedelic. That's him doing that.
Yeah,
on
that's
that portion
it.
of the song. Okay, yeah, very unique, very interesting.
Yeah, because Damon, you see, at least in concert, I see him play either the piano or he plays like one of the Taylor Mini acoustic guitars. But a lot of the electric guitar and some of those things, that's definitely Graham doing that and stuff. And the CD, it does come in a standard jewel case. It came with some interesting artwork on the actually outside of the shrink wrap, so I've actually put that inside mine. But I love the little CD picture too. It's kind of cute. You can see the little smiley face. In the book itself, you won't be able to read the lyrics too well. They're kind of scribbled, but it is very colorful, very artistic. Kind of fits in with kind of the international flavor of where it was recorded. And I know I said it was recorded in 5 days, which apparently pertains to the basic tracks, but I think there was done some overdubs and mastering back in England, where the band's from and everything too.
Yeah, during the break when we were listening, I grabbed the booklet and I was going to try to look at the lyrics. And before I even opened it, you said to me, good luck reading it.
Yeah.
And I can see what you mean.
Yeah,
It is all over the place. But I do admit, what it lacks in practicality of being able to read it, it more than makes up for in artistic aesthetic.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah.
And Damon, you know, and sometimes I know since I first heard him sing, he kind of recalls like a Ray Davies and the Kinks, where he sings in a British accent.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people go, God, the Beatles, you don't hear their British accents when they sing. Well, with Damon, you definitely hear it.
Yeah.
But you have no problem understanding them though either. You know, the vocals are out front, and that's always kind of fits well with the band and stuff, you know. So the next song, and I may actually have us flash it on the screen because it might be Chinese. I'm not gonna. I would probably butcher it to pronounce it. So let's listen to a little bit of it,
Sure.
and then maybe we can.
Okay.
You can help me. We'll try to figure out the pronunciation of it too.
I'll do my best.
I look down from my window to the island where I'm held, and listen while you're sleeping, and darkness is itself. Tomorrow I'm disappearing.
And that's, let's hope I don't butcher it, is Pyongyang, is because you do hear Damon say that word on the song, and I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think you're reasonably safe.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to cause any international incidents.
Okay, good. Heaven forbid.
Yeah. Anyways, keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hey, so basically we have a track here where this is one of those tracks where it's kind of based off the drum and bass line, and then you've just got this little 3-note guitar riff, a melody, I should say, that kind of hooks it together in between the lyrics. That bow, 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 you know, where it hooks between the lyrics, and it's a good exercise in minimalism. Though there's lots of nice little how shall I say, ambient flourishes. And is that the guitar player?
Yeah, I assume it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of little ambient flourishes, which I would almost think maybe were some kind of electronic loops or something. But it could be, the guitar player's creating that as well. But yeah, it reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of David Bowie in many respects. More contemporary David Bowie, in my opinion. I probably reacted stronger to that first song because I'm just more of an upbeat person. This is a little darker, a little bit moodier, in my opinion. I liked it. I'd like to hear more of it. I'd like to explore it further. These 2 tracks definitely make me want to check out more of this album.
Good, yeah, and like I said, I'm late to the party. I discovered Blur pretty much when I saw him at Coachella in I have to wrap my head back in 2013. I had never seen them, and then I sought out and listened to more of their music. But you know, a very impressive album. You know, the Magic Whip, and you know, and it's great that it's all four of the original band members back. Like I said, it's their first album they've all done together in many years, and hopefully they'll keep at it because this is a great return to form.
Yeah, this definitely makes me curious, even more curious than hearing song number 2.
Yeah,
makes me more curious to hear more. So yeah, and 5 days in the studio.
Yeah. And I assume some mastering or overdubs.
Yeah,
and
probably
stuff.
after the fact.
But apparently that it was those 5 days that these songs. They I guess they put together about 15 songs. Pretty impressive, and that's the way they used to do things.
If it was just those 2 songs, I'd say that's pretty damn productive.
Yeah, exactly.
Just those 2 tracks, I'd say that's pretty damn productive.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of variety and a lot of things to discover on this album.
And they sound as good as they do. Cool.
Yeah. Now, what did you bring in today?
Well, okay, I have got the latest latest album, however you want to look at it. By the Alabama Shakes, Sound and Color. I'll try to hold this up just right so it doesn't reflect too badly.
There you go, just like that. There you got it.
There we go. And now, of course, I covered the first Alabama Shakes album, Boys and Girls, on our old channel, which no longer exists. Thank you, Google. No, I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
But, you know, Boys and Girls was an album, their first album was an album that kind of snuck up on me very slowly. Little by little, I wanted to hear it more. And Alabama Shakes had only been together, I'm thinking 4 to 5 months when they started recording their first album. And then, lo and behold, to I think probably the record industry's surprise, and even to their surprise, they got nominated Best New Artist. They didn't win, but they got nominated. And so it's amazing what happened to them after that first album. But, you know, that album, I figured, you know, most bands, when they get an impressive debut, what they do is they try to make the second album not so much a repeat, but just kind of a part 2. You know, part 2 or volume 2. And so I kind of thought this album would continue that. The first album was very much them looking at Motown, the Brill Building sound, you know, soul, R&B, rock and roll during the early 60s. And I thought that would just continue on this album. And it does to a certain extent. But instead, the band has chosen to challenge themselves as musicians and challenge their audience by going into some other directions that were completely unexpected. There are elements of heavy British blues rock. There's elements of psychedelic garage rock. There's one song where they get outright punk on it. I'm not sure I like that particular song personally, but I respect them for having just the audacity to do it.
Yeah.
I like the energy of it, even if maybe the song isn't appealing. I just like the energy of the performance. So anyhow, let's go ahead and check out a track here. This is going to be we're not going to listen to the hit single that probably everybody's heard, which is called "I Don't Want to Fight," which is a great song, very James Brown influenced. We're going to instead listen to a track maybe you haven't heard yet if you don't have this album. It's called "Future People." Here we go.
You know, I love Brittany Howard. She is just such an amazing singer. And like we were talking a little bit off camera, I saw the band for the first time at Coachella this year, was blown away. I mean, and they've come so leaps and bounds ahead. I'm not you know, intimate with this album yet, but I need to be, because the band was really amazing there. I had not really heard much about them since we had featured them on the show, I think the first time around, and I was just blown away by how far they had come.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Normally, I expect this type of a leap, not on the second album.
Right, exactly.
If a band's going to grow and change, and like you said, some bands do one thing, they do it well, they consistently do it well, like AC/DC. You know,
the Ramones, or
the Ramones. Yeah, exactly. And I was really expecting this band to just continue with their second album, it'd be Volume 2.
Yeah.
Basically, so to speak. And to just do such a leap forward on this album just defied all expectations. You know, and I'm not sure, I think if you're a fan of this band, you may not like everything you hear on this album, but at the very least you'll respect that they tried to do something totally different.
Well said.
But I think you're going to like enough of it, and that's how I felt. I was like, not every song necessarily grabbed me, but at least I was intrigued while it's like at least I went, well, what's this?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is totally different. What?
Yeah.
what are they going to do now? What
Yeah.
is? And it's like, as I'm listening, this is how I'm reacting. Well, where's this going to go?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm intrigued. You know, so I have to really just give them extreme kudos for this.
Yeah.
But there is enough really strong material that I can't help but recommend this album. Packaging wise, this comes in a mini vinyl gatefold. There we go, front and back, interior. And
that's a nice color.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. Yeah, sound and color. And it comes with a booklet. I think the booklet is well made. The booklet features lyrics and very easy to read lyrics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's very black and white.
Yeah.
You know, got pictures of the band.
Oh, there we go.
You know, and you know, you're talking about Britney's voice. You know, she was a good, solid lead vocalist. You know, on that first album. Here, she becomes kind of a force of nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
She goes into places. She digs deep inside of herself to dig up howls and yelps and growls, and just she really becomes this primal force of nature on this album. The rest of the band too. I don't want in any way not you know, mention them as well. I can just feel them. They're just pushing themselves as players on this album.
Right.
They're creating sounds. The guitar player is creating levels of distortion and sound. Sometimes these deep distortions, where it feels almost like I'm listening to, you know, like dubstep, you know, or something very. There's even some, like I said, some hip hop influences going on, just in sometimes have these deep, dark bass sounds that bubble up to the surface. As I listen to this, yeah, there's no real way, in my opinion, to categorize this album.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
You know?
Yeah, and that's when I was watching them. I go, yeah, you hear soul, you hear gospel, you hear blues, you hear folk, you hear this, that. But you're right. They've put all this together and blended all this and made it their own. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you could categorize them on the first album, maybe. You know, you could say, yeah, it's kind of a throwback to early, you know, soul, the Brill Building sound, you know,
like
that
Memphis
part of thing.
Soul kind of thing, or something like that.
But here, no.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's all bets are off now. And now it makes me say, you know, what are they going to do on their third album?
Yeah, I think the future is very bright for Alabama Shakes. Yeah.
But let's check out another track. This is called Gimme All Your Love.
Why don't you sit with me for just a little while? Tell me what's wrong? And you just give me all your love. Give me all you got, babe.
You know, again, I'm floored. I mean, the song, you'll think, oh yeah, it's this, and all of a sudden, like, they'll come in with some power chord or something like that, and it's just very dynamic and very exciting. You know, it makes you excited about listening to, you know, to this young band. You know, people that say, oh, you know, there's no good young musicians today. They simply haven't listened, because occasionally you get like an Alabama Shakes that is breaking new ground, doing it their way, putting their own artistic stamp on everything they do. And I'm, you know, oh, and when we were off camera, we did look back in 2013. They were actually nominated for three Grammy Awards. Yeah, best new artist, best rock performer for performance for Hold On, and best recording package for their debut album. So you know, they have got some well-deserved accolades, and I'm sure this album's going to get some awards too.
Yeah, if every band, I think, pushed themselves as hard as I feel this band did for their second album. On their second album, if everybody just would push themselves, people talk about how there's not enough innovation going on in music. If every band an artist pushed themselves as hard as they did for this album, I think we'd be in a much more exciting place musically right now.
Oh, so. Yeah, hands down, we know that to be the case. And I want to thank you for bringing that in, because I'm definitely going to, you know, a priority this week is for me to become very familiar with this album.
I'm curious to hear more Blur, so thank you. And we want to thank you very much for watching the show. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't done so already, hey, the button's right down there, or maybe it's up there. I forget where YouTube puts it, but it's somewhere here, somewhere there. Anyways, though, but yeah, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the show with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. We really, really appreciate that. And my name's TJR. You can check out my music as a musician at my website, which is tjrmusic.com. And sign up for my email list, and I will send you a link for some free MP3s. And you can check out my solo reviews here at the channel. Hopefully I'll have more time to do them in the near future. And where can we find more about you?
Well, you can read more of my work, of course, at ocregister.com.
That's right.
Including, you can read recent reviews and coverage of festivals and things like that. or of course at musicworthbuying.com, and make sure to check out my coverage. And I think I do have a review of actually Alabama Shakes on there when I saw them there, as I recall a little bit of my coverage of them. So check out musicworthbuying.com, and you can read all my music reviews there.
Yeah. So, right, which links to your blog, Rock and Roll Truth.
Right, Rock and Roll Truth,
where
too, as well.
musicworthbuying.com goes.
Exactly.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.